Having been in the drapery industry for 18 years, we now know what to keep in mind and what needs to be done to minimize errors. Today, I would like to share with you some of these things so you can implement them in your business. Now, let's talk about drapery. So this is very important. Railroading fabric. When a designer gives me a fabric and they say, well, I want this and I want the stripes to go vertical. I say, okay, that's very good, but I see here that it says this 54-inch fabric is railroaded. So that means that this fabric comes off the roll this way. So now off the roll means when you're doing drapery, you need to come off the roll this way because you need to get the length for your drapery. So that means that my stripes are horizontal. Something to remember. So now, it's not the end of the world. Some people say, oh, you know, I like that as a horizontal stripe. Let's do it. But if they want vertical stripes, well, what can we do? So there are things, that means you can have a seam at 54 inches, 52 inches, because you need to make the seams. So you can use this as just a band and put a solid fabric top and bottom, depending how long your drapery is, or put a trim where the seam is going to be. Let this be all the way on the top or all the way on the bottom. Maybe you have a sofa blocking the bottom and you want to put it only on the top. Sometimes we'll just make a flap out of the fabric on the edge. It looks really nice. And then you can use this as a vertical. But always check if something's railroaded. Generally, upholstery weights are railroaded because when you want it over a sofa, you need to get the width. So here's a fabric that we used, and you could see this pattern, how the oval is horizontal here. So this, if you're using this up the roll, is going to be like this. But we were using this for a wide valance for somebody. And the wide valance was going to need seams, and it wasn't a great pattern for seams. So we asked the designer, said, can we railroad the fabric? Then the horizontal shape becomes more vertical. He told me, he goes, I love it like that. I prefer it. And it came out beautiful. So you have to know you can play with the fabrics also. Plaids. Generally, drapery are made on the table when they're sewn from the bottom. And then everything's matched from there. On a plaid, always write on your work order and specify to make it from the top. Because when your widths come together, they won't match. Or they're very likely not to match if you make it from the bottom. Trust me. Pinch pleats are the classic treatment that always work. They always work. And the spacing between the pleats is about generally 4 inches between the pleats, and a pleat takes about 5 inches. So that means on a width of fabric, you're going to get 5 pleats. A width and a half, you're going to get 8 pleats. If you go a little closer, 3.5, 3 inches, you could get as many as 10 to 12 pleats. But you don't want to go closer than 3 inches because then the drapery will not fall properly. So this is matching repeats. So you have fabrics that have repeats on them. So that's part of calculating drapery, is you have to find out what the vertical repeat is, what a horizontal repeat is, and you have to add that in and then order enough fabric so that there's room to play with it. And then there's something called a half drop, which is usually a floral, where you'll have the floral pattern here, and then it repeats itself again here, and then again here. So that one, that's why the horizontal repeat, and then there's a half drop repeat. So that all needs to be taken into consideration.